All right, so this is week 3. So this week we had several readings in Dare to Lead from Brene Brown's book. I'm trying to look back. I had a lot of notes from these sections. So section 4 about shame and empathy, section 5 about curiosity and grounded confidence, and then part 2 about living into our values. Let's see, I'm going to come back to that one. And then we also did one chapter from the It's the Manager book as well as the Strengths Finders assessment. So this week, what knowledge have I gained about myself? I think it was nice to be able to really focus on what my strengths are now. I say that because I took the Strengths Finder assessment like 10 years ago, and I feel like my results were different. Um, so yeah, nice to be able to kind of clearly see what those are. And then I also took the time to think about what my kind of core values are. And I narrowed that down to um, making a difference is my number one, and connection is my number two value. And once I really like took the time to think about that, it really just made sense in both of my personal and professional roles. So kind of cool to see that. So what about from the readings and activities? What I already know. I already knew again because I've read some of Brene Brown's work. Um, the importance of empathy and the importance of curiosity as a leader, especially as an educator. I feel like I love telling students to get curious because it's such a good way for them to find their own unique like footing when it comes to asking questions or interviewing a client. So I've used that word curiosity quite a bit in trying to mentor students, especially like in Sims Simulation Center is where it's coming into my mind as far as examples of real life. And then the other piece that I wrote down that I definitely already know, but I don't always, I could be better at remembering and using is assuming good intent from others. I love that because it's such a good way to kind of, oh, diffuse, I guess, any kind of conflict that could arise, especially when there's two different sides of the, um, I don't know, perspective on the problem anyway. Like if I have a different perspective from someone else, as long as I can always remember that, like they're coming from a place of good intention, they're doing the best they can, then that really helps me to let my guard down a little bit and be more open and not get so defensive. Um, all right, and then what tangible ways will my leadership be redefined or defined based on what I learned this week? So, this week, this coming week anyway, I'm preparing to lead a meeting with um, all of my managers and supervisors in acute care, and there's quite a few because there's not just like one point person that I communicate to. So I had to call a meeting with them because we hired on a new therapist to work with me, and so we're trying to kind of change the program that I started. Where it's only been just me, now we're adding in another person. And so we need to kind of reevaluate things and see where it's going. So, based on what I learned this week, I really gained some valuable tips about giving feedback and receiving feedback that I think will help me to stay focused on kind of the goals of what we're trying to achieve with this meeting. And also help me to avoid getting defensive because it is like this program is my baby, so I take a lot of like ownership in it and responsibility. And so taking feedback from this group of people, which is what I'm coming to this meeting to do, I realize that it's also going to be kind of challenging because, I'm going to have to be open to criticism for something that I have completely like made my own. So that is going to be hard. Um, as far as specific growth analysis, what am I lacking? Well, to go along with that, I think I lack a clear understanding of my weaknesses. So now that I kind of understand my strengths, that's great. I can focus on those, wonderful. But I think it also might be helpful to really pinpoint or understand, especially some of my really like clear weaknesses, um, or that are pretty persistent or repetitive. Also, for this particular meeting, for example, I lack some understanding of my superiors' perspectives, especially when it comes to my performance. I think I always have an annual performance review, but it doesn't really ever come with constructive criticism, right, on things I could be doing better. And I definitely want to know those things. Like, I want this program to improve. I want to improve. So it can't just all be, roses and daisies. Like, I know there's something they can tell me that can help me to improve. So I would really love to have an open and honest conversation about that, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen because I can't control what they decide to do, right? Um, so I also definitely feel like I lack a sense of connection and belonging to my worker roles right now. Um, and that comes along with both. So both my teaching at ISU, because I'm an adjunct, so I'm not really like part of the team, if that makes sense. I don't have to go to meetings and stuff. And then at union, I'm not really like a union health employee. We're contracted as therapists from Progressive Rehab, but I'm also not really part of the rehab team because I work in isolation on this like postpartum unit. So I really just am isolated. And that stinks because, as I said, my number two core value is connection. So when I don't feel like I'm connected, that is a problem. I kind of sink more into my work and into myself, which is never a good thing for me, honestly. Okay, so what professional development opportunities exist? I think some time to reflect on my weaknesses, and time to seek feedback from people that I trust, maybe develop those relationships a little bit more so I can get honest feedback. Um, and then seeking out connection and belonging at those places that I do work, that I already mentioned. So I'm not exactly sure how to go about that, but I know that there's opportunity there. I know it does exist. And then to be successful, who do I need to join on my journey? Well, I think already the supervisors and colleagues that I mentioned, um, on these teams that I'm already working in order to have that feeling of belonging and sense of connection. And I need to really, um, I don't know, be connected to those people, right, that I'm already working with. So that's why I put supervisors and colleagues. So that's it for this week. It was a tough week. Next week, I guess, is going to be probably just as tough, but I'm ready to dig in and do it. Thank you. Bye.